My mom had passed away in 2019, and my dad was showing signs of dementia then already. He couldn't be on his own, so we had to think fast. We had two ladies that were not qualified caregivers. He had landed, I think, on the couch a lot. That's when the base all set. And these ladies did their best, but did not realize the amount of movement that had to happen. That was where the great regression kind of set in.
And then it gets to a point where informal care just is a physical anymore.
That is a place for informal care. There's a place for putting more formalized, specialized care in place there.
Home. But then we also got to a point where even home care wasn't sufficient.
Yeah.
Welcome to Fill in the Blanks podcast. I am Ilani, and we are committed to empowering family members with tools on how to make the right decisions around their care. So we've got Lauren Hofmeyr this morning who's going to share her story with us. Lauren, we're so excited to have you.
Thank you, Donna. Happy to be here.
Great. So Lauren, let's go back a little bit to where we met and where we got acquainted initially. What was the situation by then?
Right. So my mom had passed away in 2019, and my dad was showing signs of dementia then already. So we had two ladies that were not qualified caregivers. They came with good credentials from somebody my brother knew, from Joburg, and they happened to be sisters, lovely ladies. And for a while, they did the thing of being a companion, being the meals, helping him out on daily activities. He could still walk, he could still look after himself. So they filled a wonderful gap initially. From after my mom passed away and him needing some extra care. And we're both working, we couldn't be there every day, and it was nice to have him at his home. So these ladies did fill in that space for us.
So just to take a step back, so when mom passed away, I can imagine that must have been a very traumatic time. And dad needed some care.
And we didn't realize how much care he needed. She was a stalwart of keeping going. Even in her cancer journey, she ruled the roost, and it kind of didn't let us know how much my dad needed extra support. She covered that face, and she was that provider for him. But I think it was the early signs of dementia. So I think in her struggle and keeping going with the chemo and everything, that she just didn't really go there to think about his care. So when she did pass away, we realized quite upfront and really at that point that he needed greater care. You could not be on his own at all. And we took him off to the doctor for that test for the dementia, and there was significant reason show up of that need.
So what did the doctor at that point tell you guys around dad's safety, quality of life? Did the doctor highlight safety concerns and things like that?
I made it very clear that he was high up on that dementia score, and that he couldn't be on his own. So we had to think fast of how to start the process of care. So there was a need of safety and 24-hour care. He was the recommendation.
Look, and
So
I
we
think
had to jump fast.
and I think often families are in that position where a major life event happens. Mom passed away. All of a sudden, dad's care needs going to the front. You guys had to jump.
His sister, my aunt, did such a lovely thing. She's looked after him for the interim time. She came up from Margate, and she stayed in the house. And while we were in December, now this is December, looking for ladies to, because we go back to work in January.
Exactly.
And something has to be in place. So luckily my brother had somebody at his work that had a parent with dementia. And she had recommendation of the first person we found that was in childcare. And her employers had left to go to the UK. and she was looking for a job. So that's the first lady we got in place. We interviewed her like on the 30th of December or something, somewhere around before the new year, and we really liked her. And then she started the journey. But very soon she did start as the caregiver, but it was too much for one person. So we soon realized, I think a few days in, or maybe it was a week or 2 weeks back then, I can't really remember, but very soon realized she couldn't take the load on her own.
Yeah. Because it is
And
quite a
it's
full-time
real
job. It is quite a full-time job
yeah.
when someone has Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yes, it's hard work.
Yeah. And I often think families feel, no, we can just get one carer and, it's fine.
Yeah. She realized very soon that, I don't know, actually it's a point I haven't thought about for so many years now. But yeah, so I think she was honest with us. We saw it. And we realized we got to find somebody else. Yes. Because it was it's a task of looking after someone with that greater need.
Yeah.
Amy and her sister, her background wasn't from anything with any kind of qualifications. I think she was a domestic worker. But we thought we'd give her a try, and she was available. So as it panned out, we had these two sisters coming in and swapping every 4 days, 4 nights, 4 nights on, 4 nights off.
Yeah.
They came from Joburg. I have renewed confidence and should I say respect for the taxi association. They drove from Orange Grove side of Joburg, the other one from Germiston side, came in on the freeway with the taxis, did the swap over in town, arrived in Die Wilgers where he lived. They were never late.
Oh, wow.
They were always on time. So that was such a lovely experience. And the fact that they were sisters, so they worked well, in tandem with each other.
And it sounds like you also had a good relationship with
We
them.
did. We got on so well with them. They did a wonderful job over those years. Yeah.
So one thing I just want to highlight, oftentimes families feel that one carer is enough. So they got to get one person to look after dad with dementia. And then, like you also said very quickly, either the carer or the family will realize it's not sufficient because it's a full-time job.
Full-time, 24 hours, 24/7,
Yeah.
And they've got to be ready and active and energetic and
For sure.
able,
Because again, it's from a safety perspective, but also quality of life. So from a safety perspective, preventing injuries, preventing falls, preventing something bad from happening.
So in those days, he was still able to do all bathroom activities on his own, shower by himself, eat by himself, all of that. They'll prepare the food.
Sure.
Guide him to, here the clothes are, you get dressed yourself.
Yeah.
You put on the clothes, and they didn't need, at that point, did you not need to intervene there at all.
Yeah.
But it was still quite a thing at that point, even though he could manage a lot of that himself, which changed over the next 5 years. We still needed 2 ladies.
Yeah,
to do
for
that.
sure. Because it is still a full-time job.
Yes.
That person still has to be on guard the whole time. Guard the whole time. And actually manage the household.
Yes. They did light cleaning as well.
Yeah.
The Checkers 60/60 did their thing.
I love how we're shining the light on the Taxi Association and Checker 60. I think in South Africa we're so resilient in making use of systems.
Yes.
And it works. If we just put the right plans in place.
Yeah, we
it
can
works.
do this. Absolutely.
So where did it change, Lauren? So it was, suitable until a point, and then where did things start changing?
So it went quite far along to at least 5 years in. So if we were backing up into 2024 now, hey, that's 2 years ago. I could see the change was happening. The dementia was setting in more. He needed, by then already, he had to have all bathroom activities, or if that's the right way to say it, were managed and helped. He had to be helped with in the shower. The regression had happened to that extent where they actually were, it was feeding himself sometimes, but otherwise they were feeding as well.
Yeah.
So in those 4 years, a lot of physical and mental change happened.
Sure.
Initially, they were walking every day, but by this point, he wasn't. Mobility was not as it was. So, and the walking every day, it stopped as well. And he had landed, I think, on the couch a lot. That's when the bed sores set in, and these ladies, bless them, they did their best, but did not realize the amount of movement that had to happen.
Yeah.
And a bed sore set in on the heel, and they try to medicate it themselves.
Yeah.
So by the time they told me about it, it was quite significantly along and quite deep. We did manage it. We went to the doctor. He did put him on a penicillin, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, sure.
That started to change the wound, and it seemed to be much better.
Yeah.
But in the end, it actually regressed again after some time of getting better, and seemed to be closing, and it did close. And I think another one popped up again on the other heel.
Yeah.
So with me saying, you got to move him, we can't just, and they knew that.
Yeah,
I think they actually knew that as well. We had to move off the couch. We had to give him different positions to sit on. So we followed that way of doing things, with me being at work and then coming into, let's monitor it. Was what I was doing. So that was where the great regression kind of set in, was through the bed sores appearing. And so, when you've got these caregivers and you've had them for 4 or 5 years, you think, they're close to your heart. You kind of, supporting them. So the change in my heart was like, oh, I'm hearing this, but at what point do I have to change this? So it got to the point where the bed sores got so bad that we had to have my dad's operated on, and cleaned out. And then we got a wound care specialist in, and she was, Lauren, these ladies cannot be the caregivers anymore. So that's when I called you. I think at that point you were on the fast dial.
On the fast dial.
Yes.
I just want to stop there for a second, Lauren. So I think oftentimes this is the natural progression that families go through.
Yes.
So they see their loved one needs some assistance, but oftentimes with Alzheimer's and dementia, they don't initially need as much physical care. So,
slow progress,
it's
almost
a
in a
slow,
way.
So more informal carers, the companionship element, making sure that dad is eating, taking medication, but he's still able to do a lot for himself. At that point, it's still sufficient.
Yes.
And then it gets to a point where informal care just isn't sufficient anymore.
Absolutely.
Right.
And my heart had to catch up with that. So I found that very difficult. So I had to,
because a relationship, that
it was a
strong
strong relationship. Yes.
You trusted them. They gave you peace of mind.
They were wonderful. They were wonderful. So I had to do the hard thing of retrenching them. Is that the right word? Just letting them go, having the conversation, and saying, I'm sorry, but my dad's care is at a level that he needs more. And remember, Ilani, when you first started the process with you, you came in to try and train them.
Yes, exactly.
Hilani spent some time with both caregivers and giving them some direction, extra direction about how to care for dad and how to manage these wounds. But it still wasn't good enough. So I think it was me feeling like, oh, can't we train them up? It can't be that difficult. But in the end, it wasn't the right thing.
So, look, I think it's a fine line, Lauren. I think, again, we always take into account, especially if there's an embedded relationship. There was already a trusted relationship. Dad with dementia was used to these ladies. Obviously, dad started needing more specialized care. So the first rule of thumb is to see, can we upskill these ladies? But I do think his care got to a point, especially with the pressure sores. That's quite complex.
Those were the reasons.
Management.
And
then again, I think where the tipping point came in is putting managed care in place. So it's something around even upskilling carers, but they're not managed from a professional perspective yet. And then bringing in more qualified, experienced carers that are managed professionally.
I saw the difference. It just was magnified to a level that I was really had to go, yes, this is the right thing. So it was hard. I had to let them go. It
Yeah.
was a tough conversation, a few tears,
Of
and
course.
yeah. So the one caregiver took it very well.
Mm.
The other one was a bit harder to crack, but I had to I had to do what we needed to do
Yeah.
for my dad's sake. Um, in the end, they both understood that. We had to be kind with the payouts and the financial part of it, and to
Yeah.
let them go. But we did that, and then Creole Care ladies, fully qualified ladies, stepped in,
Yeah.
and was the difference phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So I saw that firsthand with their training,
Yeah.
their expertise, and the job that they do.
Yeah.
It was a remarkable
Yeah.
change.
Did
Yeah.
that give you peace of mind, Lauren? What
Yeah.
changed when we could in place more
Mm.
specialized
Yeah.
care?
I think they realized the move and the mobility, the movement. I'm not sure my previous caregivers how much during the nights actually the movement happened during the nights. They said they did, but I'm not sure. Whereas the peace of mind with Creole Care ladies coming in, I knew that without a shadow of a doubt, he was moved regularly on that couch. Because by this time he was very stationary.
Yeah.
And sometimes even in the wheelchair at that point,
Yeah.
after that big operation he had to have. And then I knew at nights, having conversations with them, that they were up,
Yeah.
they were changing
Yes.
his position in bed through the night as well.
Yeah.
The level of care with the eating was phenomenal. He dipped terribly with his weight during this whole process with the operation.
Yeah.
But your ladies that got him up to eating, and she with one lady would spend up to 2 hours trying to feed him.
Yeah.
And I was blown away by her care,
Yeah.
and there was a remarkable difference
Yeah,
from that as well.
But I think also just understanding the condition a bit better and understanding the day-to-day management definitely makes a big difference. So again, there's a place for informal care. There's a place for putting more formalized, specialized care in place at home. But then we also got to a point where even home care wasn't sufficient.
Yeah. So we saw the need, we saw the intensity of the feeding. The feeding was quite an issue.
Yeah.
I think and at that point we realized time for you just open up your facility here in Arita Street, and we realized every minute with a lot of ladies around him, more than just the one lady, because I think that was a massive task at that point of his need for one lady to manage. I know you did have your cycle of ladies coming in, but I think just your environment, and I came to visit and see how it felt, and it absolutely felt like home, bright and lovely, and just the atmosphere grabbed me as well. So I realized at that point, okay, it's time for that next level of need and care.
Let's pause for a moment, Lauren. What emotions did you feel by that point? I mean, you tried to keep Dad in his own environment for as long as possible, and we succeeded up until a point. But what did you, as his daughter and now the responsible person for him, what emotions did you go through when you had to move?
It's quite an emotional thing. There's many tears. There's feelings of like, oh, I haven't done enough to keep him here. There's the knowledge that if I move him, is it going to be to his detriment? You hear those stories. But in my heart of hearts, I knew we had all seen it. My brother was with me in this whole journey, with my husband Andy as well. And they had said, Lauren, no, us is the right time. And as much of an emotional roller coaster, which it was, from the caregivers changing to the wound specialist lady, being on my case, as it were, but in a good way. She was hard, but it was good. Sometimes you need a hard voice to talk to you. All of those days were like, rolled into this emotional roller coaster. So the day we had to leave home was real. But you do what you have to do, and you make your plans according to the knowledge you have at the time.
There we go.
And that's what we decided. And in the end, we were grateful for how the process happened.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was very hard.
Change is never easy, I think, and oftentimes families also they know in their mind what the next step is. But for the heart to catch up
Yes.
and the emotions to catch up and the sentiment to catch up,
Yes, it's real.
can be very
I
challenging.
saw that
sometimes,
firsthand.
hey?
Absolutely. I saw that firsthand. I didn't, I've never gone through this before. My mom passed away at home
Yeah.
with other carers that she had there. So I had a touch of that, and it wasn't a long process at all. And there wasn't dementia.
Yeah.
But this 5-year
Yeah.
process was an interesting emotional roller coaster of
for
being at
sure.
work, not being there every day. The guilty, like, I need to go, are they okay? But back in those days the ladies did a great job. There was always it was always all right. But yes, there's this feeling of, have I done enough? Is this the next right thing? Having to make the hard decisions in the emotion of it all. It is a quite a real emotional roller coaster, as I keep on saying.
But often that paralyzes family members, Lauren.
Yeah.
Oftentimes family members are so paralyzed
Mhm.
by the majesty of making the right next decision.
Yes.
But you highlighted something very specific. You said you can only make a decision with the information that you've got available now. You
Yeah.
can only make the next decision
Yes.
with the information you've got available now.
Yes.
And do you think that's an important rule of thumb for family members to live by?
I think that is the only thing you can really live by. In between, I do commit things to prayer. I do, ask for the Lord's guidance and things, and that is a real truth in my life. But that comes with knowledge, and that comes with expertise that I had from you. My Fritz and my brother and Andy, my husband, in the mix as well. Their input and what they were saying to support it all. And then Green Care Specialist, because she was very much part of this life in those last few months. So that mix of all that knowledge coming in is what you got to go by. Sift it all through, let it settle, and then really make even a hard decision with that information and with the best scenario for him. And then what Brett and Andy would always say to me, best for dad. What's the best for dad? And so we went with that as our rule of thumb. And that's how we made our decisions.
The way men can sometimes take all the emotion out of a thing, and they can, double down to say,
Exactly.
what is the best for dad.
Yeah.
Lauren, how important was it to have a good relationship with us from a management perspective, and open communication, and having an open door policy? Come and visit. How important was that?